Hey everybody, this is Shannon
and Claudia
with Real Talk with Shannon and Claudia. How are y'all doing today?
Ask me how I'm doing.
How are you doing today?
I'm still in shock after the news you gave me about my cute god chicken, which has now what?
A sex sprain. She's got a sex sprain. She's got a very cute rooster that she's very fond of.
No.
And he's very sweet, but
no, we're getting a new rooster. I told you. Something smaller.
Smaller.
Okay.
Okay. So
but now
we were going to talk about the National Association Realtors lawsuit, and then also the new Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae guidelines that have just come out literally yesterday. Yesterday. So the biggest thing with the lawsuit, which obviously we want everything to be affordable for people. Like anyone who thinks that we don't, including the president, including other people who have said that those are junk fees or whatever, please believe me when I tell you, you do not want an attorney to write a contract for you. They don't have a list of contractors. They cannot tell you in real time how repairs and things play out. They can tell you about contract. They cannot help you in real estate. They're also not going to go with you and walk house to house and talk about grading and
visual inspections.
Right. And they're not going to talk with you about all of those things. So please believe me from the bottom of my heart. I wouldn't dedicate my life to this if I didn't wholeheartedly believe in it. It is the largest single purchase that you will make in your whole life. And you shouldn't just trust it to some schmo. You shouldn't just trust it to an attorney. And I have a lot of attorney friends. There's a ton of really good attorneys. There's also a really ton of good agents. And we protect you and we do the things. We're invested in your home and your family more than an attorney in an office ever will be. Yeah.
Contracts for buyers or sellers, it's only one step in the whole process. There are tons of steps that the normal person doesn't see. Until I bought my first house when I was still not a realtor, I had no clue what it implies to buy a house, what's going on behind the facade. You have no idea what we do a day, which you will never hear about if it goes right, because we are problem solvers. We solve the problems before they come to you.
Right. Wait, who was your agent here in Richmond?
She found our house in 2 days. She got it pushed through in less than a month, and we could move in 2 days.
And they love their neighborhood. They told me what they wanted. They dialed me in, and I compared shop and went through everything for them and drove them all around.
Even though it does have an HOA, remember.
It does have an HOA, but they wanted a tennis court, and you don't get a tennis court without an HOA. Okay.
It's okay.
Back to the National Association of Realtors. Yes. So the big deal with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is they just allowed that the buyer's agency commission could be put into the buyer's closing cost if the seller doesn't want to pay a commission. Now, it's been standard to pay a commission. That's been standard for years. If we go back to the 80s, in the 80s, the buyer's agent never had anyone representing them.
But that what did that cost?
That was terrible because you had no representation up against a person who had professional representation. That would be like me going in the boxing ring with Mike Tyson. I think one of us is going to prevail, and I think one of us is going to lose. Right, right. And so we feel like you need representation because this is the largest transaction in your life. It's not only the right house, the neighborhood, the schools, the area, the location, the proximity to your work. It's also the condition, the inspections, the title insurance, the homeowner's insurance, all of the things that could be in play, all of the maintenance. I can't tell you how many people don't want to have maintenance. That will lead us to our next video about women buying homes. Stay tuned. But the National Association of Realtors, they were all up in a hissy over the 6%. And really, they were only talking about the 3% that was paid to the buyer's agent.
Okay, and let me tell you, we don't get 3%.
Right.
That even my best friends, they say, oh, you just sold a $500,000 house. You just made $15,000 commission. You should invite me for dinner. That is not the case. We have to split with the brokerage. We have to split with our team if we have a team. We pay a huge amount of taxes. We have expenses.
All of the expenses come out of our side. The pictures, the gas, the mileage, the signs, the color copies, the flyers, the photos. All of the things come out of our side.
Do you know Monday was tax day? My accountant told me I could not deduct the mileage that it takes me from my home to the office. I can't deduct anything else that goes out from the office if I show houses, if I go to closing, if I do whatever, but I can't deduct the way from my house to the office or vice versa.
Yeah.
One of those nice rules.
Right. So we have a ton of rules that are really picky that we have to follow along. So the whole point to say there's one group of people who are still not represented in having a buyer's agent if you don't have the money saved. Our veterans.
Let's talk about our veterans.
Our veterans. I am so appalled that our veterans again are on the slow list. Why are we always shortchanging the veterans? So first-time home buyer, they can wrap in their fees. A second-time home buyer, they can wrap in their fees if the seller's not paying their buyer's agent commission, but a veteran cannot. I'm sorry, you will be unrepresented in the most important thing in your life.
And a veteran cannot pay the buyer's commission. It's not allowed if he takes a VA loan.
Yes. Yeah.
Even if he does want to pay me, he cannot legally do it.
Yeah. So what that's going to do is force a lot of veterans to not use their veteran benefits, and they're going to end up using an FHA loan only because they will be able to have representation.
And leave a lot of money on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole point of the veterans loan is it reduces your cost and it reduces your mortgage insurance, and there's different things that they benefit from having been active service, and also if they were disabled, like if they had an injury or percentage, it gives them some things off.
On the other side, they would decide to go and buy the property without representation. Not only the veterans, what will cause a buyer choosing to buy a house without representation? A lot of lawsuits are going to be in the pipe. A lot of lawsuits.
So the biggest thing I've seen with that, and I think this is really important, and I'm going to get really close, because what is happening is that a ton of listing agents are saying that they will not represent a buyer to help benefit their seller. So if you're a seller and you're refusing to pay a buyer's agent commission, and your listing agent knows that they're going to get sued because of that, because they're going to try to write up a contract, but they're not really advising them and nobody's really looking out for their benefits, that buyer is going to come back and sue later on. That's going to come back on you. And so if you're a seller, our advice is to go with what the standard is in your area. If the standard is 6%, go with 6%. If the standard is 5%, go with 5%. If the standard is somewhere in the middle, then go somewhere in the middle. But I do not recommend for people that if the standard is 2.5% and you want to pay 1%.
Put yourself in the position, you have to sell your house, okay? Hypothetical, I'm selling my house. Oh, I'm not going to pay any buyer's commission. Why would I do that? But what am I going to do? I'm not going to sell my house to pay rent, right? Why am I going to sell? I'm going to move. Why? I want to upgrade, bigger space. I want to downgrade. My kids are gone. Want smaller space. I'm going to relocate because of work. I'm going to move to Hawaii to be with the family, right? But I will go and buy something there too. So it's a wish wash, right?
So if you want somebody to not have representation here, but then you want to go somewhere else and have representation there, it kind of doesn't work both ways. You kind of don't get it both ways.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's the key thing. This is, unprecedented, but also in the 80s, it was unprecedented before that for a buyer's agent to have, a buyer to have an agent to help them with the purchase. So I think that's really a key thing is we've come really far. We've done great things. Let's not undo it all.
Okay, let me give you a little detail. This lawsuit was brought on by a lawyer who isn't even a real estate lawyer. Do you know what his specialty is?
What?
He is an accident lawyer, right? The guys who are on the billboards. So I did a little research. Do you know how much they get paid?
25
to 40% of whatever the client gets in the lawsuit. 40%. And he gets up, researches a little bit, gets into real estate law, and fights for our 3%, which are not even 3% that we get.
Right.
It really makes me angry.
Right. What bugs you? Put in the message what bugs you, and we're going to do some research on it into a video. All right. Well,
do you know what bugs me now too?
Uh-oh.
My poor chicken. Okay.
Not
my
the chicken again.
With the sex
She's
symbol.
doing fine. She has.
Yeah.
All right. And everybody, that's it for today. Our email address again is realtalkwithshannonandclaudia@gmail.com. Contact us if you need anything. If you have something that bugs you, let us know. We're going to do something on it. Bye.